So I came out of this meeting today at a Unitarian Universalist congregation that I have been starting to attend. And I thought afterwards that I would come to the waterfall, my special waterfall. And it's just raging. So I wouldn't be able to really speak loudly enough to be heard if I get too close to it. It's right there in the background. Don't know if you can see it, but I'm gonna walk over to another one that formed. I had never seen that one before. More of a gentle waterfall. And I will tell you why I'm here and tell you the whole story. So I'm going to pause this video. Going to try to get a little bit closer just so you can hear how the waterfall is raging today. I can't get closer because there's too much water, dribbling down the trail, and I didn't bring proper shoes for it, so I'm going to try to do it close up. Let's see if I can do this. So I want to tell you a little story about what happened last night and this morning, and then how I came to the waterfall, to the magical waterfall. But I just can't do this video there because the waterfall is raging today, and it is so loud that you wouldn't be able to hear me if I tried to do a video of myself even, close by. So I came to this other waterfall, a very gentle one, that I had never seen before. I would see water trickle down through here, and I'm just going to turn this around to see if you can see it. But you can actually hear the water, trickling down this time. And so what happened yesterday was that this little mouse came into my home, and I have humane traps. And so came in the afternoon, and I took it outside, and it left. And I spoke to it. I said, just go, but don't come into my home. There's a whole lot of food for you out here. And later at night, it woke me up again because it had come in again and it was in the trap again. And so I left it outside. I was having a hard time opening the trap, and it was really, it was late at night, and so I just left it outside. And this morning, I took it outside, into the forest, and it was just not wanting to leave the trap. I was talking to it, and I said, I'm not going to hurt you. I even tried lifting the trap so it would slide down, and it was like holding on for dear life, and it did not want to leave the trap. And so I just left it there, and I told it that it had like an entire forest, that it was going to be safe, that it had a lot of food out there. And so this morning, I also woke up feeling like I had been attacked. Like my whole body was hurting so badly. And So I started texting with a friend. I asked her if she could ask for me if I had been attacked. Because sometimes when it's personal, it's hard to really feel into it and have like a clear, objective view of things. And so she said that no, that I wasn't being attacked, or that I hadn't been attacked. And all of a sudden, I just started sobbing, like sobbing. And couldn't figure out why. And so anyway, I'm driving to this service, and all of a sudden it dawns on me that it's like we're like these little mice. We're trapped, and we feel safer in that trap than going out of it. We're all still so afraid. And the fear just keeps getting worse and worse because the attacks keep getting worse and worse. And so that was like a huge aha moment for me. That was the message that this little mouse had come to give me. And there was going to be this meeting after the service of, a group of like-minded people who, want to give suggestions about what we can do about the whole situation that's going on, not only in this country, but around the world. And at the service, the Reverend, they held this flower ceremony. Beautiful, beautiful ceremony. And the Reverend, she spoke about the story of this ceremony. They only have 2 traditions. It's the flower ceremony, and I forget which other one. I'm going to try to post the link to, I think they upload the services on their webpage. I haven't been attending for long, so I'm not really sure how it works, but I'm going to try to post a link to the service, because she spoke about how this minister that started this Unitarian Universalist congregation in Poland, I believe, in 1923, he started the flower ceremony because they had a building, but they only had like a few pews, and there was really nothing. And so he said, let's bring in flowers to bring beauty into this place. And he talked about how, every single flower is different, but they're all beautiful. Just like us. We're all different. But there's beauty in all of us. And so then she went on to say, his last name was Chopek, I think, how the last time that he did this ceremony was in 1941, where he talked about what was going on with Hitler, and 5 days later he was taken away, and then a year later he was killed in a concentration camp. And so it's like, how many of us are so afraid to speak up? We're still afraid. And, we're still being divided. And most people can't see that. Like, there's this guy on Instagram that I follow, and he was one of the ones that would, that he was very spoken up. He would speak out, basically against Big Pharma, but then other stuff. And all of a sudden he started saying things that aren't real, that aren't true. And I tried to warn him, and he didn't pay attention. And I think that now he's taken. And that's how they take you. That's how they bring you to their side. He started selling these products for detoxing from this protein. So he started making money, right? It started becoming about making money. And that's how they pull you to their side. And so, there's like, I'm not saying I hold the absolute truth about anything, right? There's so much confusing information out there, but I do feel that that's one of their strategies, to put out contradicting information, to put out really confusing information, right? Just to keep us divided. And so at this meeting, my proposal was, let's all put our petty differences aside. This is so much bigger than whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or a liberal or a Christian or a Jew, or this is so much bigger. And the thing that unites us all is that we can experience love. We all have a spark of divine light inside of us. And so let's start working towards a common goal. All of us, regardless of our differences, let's stop. Let's stop focusing on our differences. And let's start focusing on what unites us all. Just this past week, I was shown by my soul sister how there's so much value in our differences. Because we can all bring something to the table that is of value. And that's how we unite. And that's how we bring light into this world. Light into the darkness. We can't do it alone. It's way too big for any one person to do it alone. Sorry. And so let's start being like water. Water always finds its way. Always. And so let's start digging little ditches to show it the way. Each one of us. Until it all comes into this big, big, beautiful lake. I once said, or I once thought or wrote that yes, we are but tiny drops in a vast, vast ocean. But without one drop, the ocean isn't complete. You complete it, and we all complete it together. So let's start focusing our energy on bringing light into the darkness. on helping those that are less fortunate than us, on uniting. And we have to step out of our cages. That's the very first step. And we're never going to be fearless. None of us are. But together, we can feel safer. We can keep each other safe. So start sharing information. This is how we connect to more and more people. I have like 3 followers, so just start sharing this information. Don't just look at it and give it a like. Share it. Because so far, I don't see any other way. And I forgot to mention 2 important things. As I was driving to the service, I was listening to a song that they play in a video I watched a really long time ago about free hugs. I'm going to try to see if it's still available on YouTube, and I'll post a link to it. But as I was like crying my eyes out, all of a sudden I started screaming. I started screaming because I'm really angry. And it doesn't really help to be angry. Not that it doesn't help. It's just that we can't come at this from a place of anger. And so we have to let that anger move through us, because it's not about fighting back. Fighting back has never worked. It's not about holding people accountable. That's just another tactic to separate us, to divide us, to make us fight against each other, because we're going to fight not only against the system, but only as well as those who don't agree with us. And we're always going to disagree. Always. Because we experience life from such different perspectives. And we have to stop letting that divide us. We have to leave our petty differences aside. And just understand that everybody experiences life and experiences reality, 3D reality, from their own unique vantage point. And that doesn't mean that they're wrong and you're right, or vice versa. But those are all just little, they're so unimportant right now. And what I wanted to say is, yes, I am very angry. I am very angry at what's going on. But we can't come at it from a place of anger. We have to release that anger. We have to let it go. And so we can come at it not from a place of fighting back, but from a place of loving forward. And once we can really connect to that love that we are all able to feel, then we can find a common ground. We have all experienced love. And we have all experienced fear and anger. So let's choose what we wish to connect to. I can't remember what the other thing was. I don't know if I already mentioned it or not. Maybe I did, but the other thing is, anger is okay, right? We just need to release it and use it as a driver to start doing things. A woman at this meeting said, "Don't tell me what not to do. Tell me what to do." And so I think that at least from where I'm seeing it, the 2 first steps are revoking your consent and refusing to comply. The more of us that can do that, the higher our chances to really, really, really make a change. And share it. Share your proposals, share your views, share what you come up with. We all need to start brainstorming together and finding value in everything that everybody else is sharing, because there's value in all of us and every single thing that we bring to the table. Sending love to everyone. So I just got home and I came to check the trap, and the little mouse is gone. So now I just need to wash it. Don't know if it went into my home again, but hopefully not. And I remembered the second thing that I wanted to talk about, or that I had forgotten to talk about. And it's like when I tried going to the waterfall and it was raging and, you know, too loud for me to be even near it, I decided to go back to this little gentle waterfall where I recorded most of this video. And that brings me to this, that water will always find its way, right? But there are things that we can do to make it flow gently instead of just gush or just create a tsunami. And that's exactly what I have done in my home backyard. I dug this little ditch because water accumulates along my driveway, and putting a drain in costs like a ridiculous amount of money. And so this is the little ditch that I dug. And if you go all the way to the end, you can actually hear the water bubbling. So I'm going to do that. It's very calming. It's a very calming noise. Not noise, sound. Yeah, that's better. And let me see if you can hear it. It's not very noticeable today. It was more noticeable this morning. So you might not be able to hear it because now the iPhones, I think they have like this noise canceling effect or something. Just automatically built into it. But let's start digging our little ditches towards like this whole nice, calm ocean. And share it, you know? Everybody has something of value to contribute. And this is how we can really start making a change without having to witness tsunamis. Sending love again to everyone. So it's me again. I remembered another thing that I want to include in this video. At the service that I attended today, they ask people to share their joys and sorrows. And so they get up and they take a stone, and after they've shared their joys and sorrows, they place the stone on sand. And this young girl got up and she wanted to thank everybody from the congregation for the support they had given her, because last week I didn't attend the service, so I didn't know. Last week she shared with all of them that her uncle had died unexpectedly. And so this is the third time that I have heard of something like that. I mentioned it during the natural healing radio hour with Dr. Meg Rokel. And I said it was once removed, but no, it's twice removed. Those two instances, I had heard of a man, also someone's uncle, somebody that I know, who's very close to me. And this person also told me about a young girl, a young college girl, passing unexpectedly, and now this person at the service. And so I really feel like, I've been having a really hard time sharing about what I'm seeing happen to people, because I don't want to instill fear. But the thing is that we really need to start raising awareness. And I believe that the way that we can do this is not just by sharing information, right? Like there's this Twitter account that's even, like the Twitter handle is died suddenly. So it's all about that, like all about the people who are, suddenly passing away. But they don't offer a solution, right? And so let's start sharing information and offering what we can do as a solution. Raising awareness without instilling more fear. So that's what I'm trying to do. I know that what I'm offering isn't going to resonate with everybody, but the more that, everybody, because what I'm offering is for everyone. Everyone. And so, like, everyone needs to use it. Regardless of the choice they made. And so, like I said, not everybody's going to resonate, but then try to find other solutions, or even just, getting people to understand that these products are not what they are naming them. And so they will stop taking them, right? At the very least. And so that's another thing that I wanted to add. And I think I'll just leave it here for now. Just asking you to please start sharing information. you know? Because that's the thing that I've had the most trouble with. The algorithm is never going to show this to people who aren't, who don't even know about this. You know, at the first meeting that I attended with this group, you know, everybody was talking about what they were trying to do regarding, you know, like many different issues. So I said, I talked about what I am doing, and I said, the thing is that they're not vaccines. And not a single person in that room knew that fact. And like I said, you know, I try to post things on Facebook and on Instagram, and I get 3 likes from the same 3 people, and nobody shares it. One person does share it, but so we have to start sharing it within our own circles, within our own close friends, even if they think we're crazy or that we're conspiracy theorists or whatnot, right? We really need to start sharing this so we can reach more people, because the algorithm is never going to show these things to them. Ever. That's how it's designed. And so it's up to us to start sharing this, even if, you know, we're afraid of being shunned or called a quack. I'm starting to take being called a quack as a compliment at this point. So this is a call for help. I need your help. So I can reach more people. And so let's start sharing. Let's start sharing. I remember that at a retreat with my teacher, somebody asked him, what is the most important thing that we can teach our children? And he said, to share. And the person said, what do you mean by sharing? And my teacher answered, next question. So let's start sharing everything. Let's stop losing the fear of instilling more fear. You know, there's a very fine line between raising awareness and just trying to shock people into opening their eyes. But like the person who invited me to this group, he said something that stuck with me, and he said, because I was saying, you know, should I talk to my children about another issue? And he said, and I said, I don't want to make them afraid, you know, to go about their lives feeling afraid. And he said, you have to talk to them because you don't want them to be blindsided. And so we don't want people to be blindsided. Or like I put it, we don't want people to have the universe forcibly open their eyes. If there's something that we can do to help prevent it, especially if there's something that we can do to help prevent it. right? So that's, I think, everything that I want to say for today. Third to charm, right? So sending love to everyone. Bye for now.